seeks to bring together stakeholders, filmmakers, government agencies and members of the media under one roof to engage, interact and present solutions that can grow and better the industry. Now, Carol Coetzee is the CEO of the KZN Film Commission. She joins us now from our Durban studios to talk more about the Indaba. Carol, good morning. Thank you very much for joining me from our Durban studios. Let's talk about the film industry in Indaba and the need for us as industry to come together and find solutions, real solutions, to grow the industry.
Good morning, and thank you very much for this opportunity.
Let's talk about some of those solutions that you want to unearth at this Indaba, Carol.
Well, one of the things we discovered as the KwaZulu-Natal Film Commission, which started 3 years ago, was that as much as there was a film industry in KwaZulu-Natal for more than 100 years, it was a very fragmented industry. What you find is a lot of independent filmmakers that really weren't being able to seize the opportunities that were available. At this Indaba, we're looking at bringing people together to see what opportunities there are, and more importantly, how do they access those opportunities. A lot of the speakers that we've got are coming from a national perspective because there's a full review of the industry in terms of how do we ensure transformation in the industry, how do we ensure graduation from a very semi-skilled level to a professional level in the industry. So what we're really trying to do here is bring these filmmakers that are throughout the province, independent filmmakers, coming together to network, to see who else is in the industry, but also more importantly to start discussing policy changes that you're seeing at a national and a provincial level.
Carol, now, I'm sure you'll agree with me that there are just too many challenges within the film industry to kind of debate at one sit down. What do you put as top of the agenda, the things that you really want to debate about, but that you can also see some real change after an event of this nature?
I think the first is primarily around transformation, which is very much on the agenda of all government organizations in this current financial year. And what we've got is we've got a discussion around the transformation policy, which our board approved in December, where we're talking specifically to directed investment in programs over a period of time. One of the programs that we're going to be announcing and talking about tomorrow is what we refer to as our film factory, where we're going to be investing in 30 film graduates for a 3-year period. The biggest challenge we have in this province is that we don't have people at a professional level. So we are attracting a lot of productions to this region through our film incentive, but when we put in the condition that they have to spend 70% in the region and they have to employ a local black crew, we're finding that we're not having black people at the head of department level, for example. So this is a 3-year investment that we're making in film graduates over a 3-year period and developing content with the right mentorship over that period of time. But what we're wanting to do is, obviously, as policymakers, if we don't engage with the industry, we may be coming up with solutions that aren't workable. So we've got a number of ideas that we're wanting to present to the industry, and we're really hoping for some very fruitful engagement. So transformation is very much on top of the agenda. We're also wanting to talk to filmmakers and understand what their challenges are. We think we've got a fairly good grips around that. One of the challenges is really about accessibility to information, accessibility to funding, because there are a number of institutions, the Department of Trade and Industry, the National Film and Video Foundation, ourselves, all providing funding, but our filmmakers just don't seem to be able to access that funding. So it's really getting to the nuts and bolts of what these challenges are. We know that the film industry's biggest challenge is that it's not a full-time employment. So how do we start ensuring that the filmmakers that are working on a project-to-project basis are able to bring in the right kind of levels of income that can actually live a good, sustainable livelihood? One of the areas that we've also looked at our shareholder, the Department of Economic Development, Tourism and Environmental Affairs, is talking about their film sector strategy during this Indaba. And there's some really exciting new announcements that they're going to be making around how do we get filmmakers to start looking at commercials and business videos as a sort of gap filler while they are doing long-term feature films, for example, and TV productions. The other area that we're going to be looking at during this Indaba is saying we've got a massive isiZulu audience. How are we developing content for that audience?
Sure.
You know, often productions are made without actually understanding what the end consumer wants, and we're going to be looking at that and saying, in the audience development, how are people consuming South African content,
Yep.
and how can we make sure that our filmmakers are really gaining that access to those opportunities, particularly that SABC, for example, are providing through their quota system.
For sure. Carol, we've run out of time, but there's some serious issues you've raised, and I hope that you'll be able to address them over the couple of days where all the stakeholders, experts, industry players come together, and maybe you can unpack some of those issues, and maybe it will also be important for us to follow up with you and just find out what some of those conversations and how it went. That's Carol Coetzee. She is the CEO of the KZN Film Commission, speaking to us about the film industry in Indaba, and that they are hosting on the 27th and the 28th of this month. This will see stakeholders, filmmakers, government agencies, members of media join heads in hopes of finding solutions to challenge the, well, or I should say challenges facing the industry. Let's hope and see. Let's go to our music, yes.
Ba mmolelela gore ha ba tsamaile a ska bulela motho na pele itse ba fetso tsamaya ke re go bota motho monyako a re tselane ngwana ke ke buhabe pile tselane a nagana gabe di gararo gore a bule ra ska bule ke re motho a mmitša gape a re tselane